Hello, I'm your host, Leonard Duncan. Welcome to a new episode of ATV-TALK and Motorsports Podcast. Please join us every Tuesday at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We bring you interviews with industry professionals, live events, live news about the motorsports industry in every episode. Enjoy the show. Whether we are out riding with our friends and family or racing in extreme environments, we all need good tires. That's why I recommend GBC Power Sports Tires, a division of Greenball Corp. Their products, which include XC Master, Mini Master, and Groundbuster 3, are what leading professionals in the ATV-UTV industry are using. You can get your tires at greenballtires.com or find them on Instagram as GBC Tires for further inquiries. Blair Miller, welcome back to ATV-TALK. How are you, brother?
Oh, surviving. How about yourself?
I'm just having a great one. You know, thank you so much for taking some time out of your riding schedule to talk with us and fill us in on your recovery from last year.
Yeah, anytime. I think it's great talking to you, and it's always a fun time.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much. So you had a setback at the end of last year, middle of last year, and how's that going for you?
Well, at Ironman, it was during the mud race. I dislocated my shoulder and ended up tearing my labrum and rotate my rotator cuff in the front and the back. I need to get that anchored back together, and capsuli and a hill satch frac. Just totally did a nice number on it. Thought I could still race on it, but then got MRIs and stuff, and that kind of just put me out for the rest of the season. Once I realized, like, yeah, no, this ain't going to get any better. I rode at Sunset, and it kind of half healed and just wasn't up to par. Yeah, I kind of.
Wait a minute. Stop. You tried to race with that much damage to your shoulder?
Yeah, we already had surgery planned, and I just wanted to. It was Sunset. Sunset Ridge is one of my favorite tracks, just because it's kind of sandy and it's kind of, what I'm used to, and I thought it'd be fun, but I couldn't make it to the sand track, sadly. It was just like any of the push motions, like scrubbing when your shoulders get lifted real high on the quad, that I couldn't lift up at all. It hurt so bad to do any of that. And I guess because I still raced, that happened Saturday when I dislocated my shoulder. That happened Saturday, and I still raced Pro-Am on Sunday. Got like a 9th or 10th or something. I'm not even sure, but I still raced and thought maybe if I work at it, it would be a little bit better. But the more I did, the worse it got, and had surgery scheduled, road practice, and kind of just called it there because I had to get off in practice because of not being able to grip the bar very good, and I was weak. I was weak on that left side, and it just wasn't worth it to cause more damage to try to ride out and get like a 4th overall points and then set me back for the rest of the winter. Yeah.
So when you went and got surgery, was the damage worse than they expected once they got there, or did they already know what they were getting into?
Yeah, Dr. Scorefire at MSU, they knew of the front tear in the rotator cuff, but they didn't see the back tear, and that's when they had to keep going and anchor it all back together. And yeah, it seriously wasn't bad. I think seriously with surgeries, the mindset is the biggest thing with surgeries. If you go into surgery like, oh man, this is going to suck, the recovery is going to be terrible, it's kind of, you're putting yourself down. I had the impression like I'm gonna be right back at it, so I never stopped. I never stopped moving. I never stopped trying to get it going. Never stopped. Just it was like 2 weeks later at work, I was taking it out of my sling and doing some minor, like, side to side motions with it, kind of reaching out. And then I talked to my PT guy, and he's like, you did what? And I'm like, yeah, it felt good. I was starting to get itchy in the sling and wanted to do stuff. He's like, no, you're parking it in the sling for the next 3 weeks, or 4 weeks, and that's that. So I did that and did their exercises and stuff, but I would still ride the quad around the yard and like push the quad, push the bars. And as terrible as it sounds, like I think the quad riding is actually making it better. There were times where like I would go and do pull-ups just because. I don't know why I would do pull-ups. I'd just do some pull-ups. And it was like really achy for 2 or 3 weeks. And I thought I did something bad to it. And I went and rode, and it was totally fine again. And I don't know, it has its days where it's good, and just learning what I can and can't do still.
What's your strength level now?
it's mobility. Like, I'm trying to get back full mobility, like with a weight at different angles, trying to just make it so it does things, strong in different aspects. And it's like I said, some days I'll like overwork it and be like, oh God, that sucked. Why did I do that yesterday? And then other days it's fine. Um, it it really depends on the day and if it's rainy or not.
Well,
I don't
everybody
know.
knows that listens to the podcast that I'm freaking an idiot and didn't go to the doctor for my shoulder. And I don't even want to know what's wrong with it inside there. Because I was told that you have to go to complete replacement. But I'm also deep into my 40s when they tell me this, and
Yeah.
I still have a life of activity to go through and things to do. I don't want to.
You can't take 6 weeks off doing what you're doing.
No, there's no time off. There's no time to take off.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, early in my life, I tore the muscle on my shoulder blade off. I mean, I tore it to where it had like a stringer piece that would flop back over and get wedged in the joint.
Oh God.
Yeah, and then it would pop out in your sleep because you relaxed, and it would allow it to roll out, and you were fine. But I lost size on that side. I lost a bunch of stuff. And instead of sewing a muscle back together, what they do is they shave the torn portion away. So it's still connected on this one little part, and they make it like it's raw. And what happens is it grows back together.
Huh.
Yeah, I didn't believe that. I thought, okay, whatever. When I got done, my right side was better than my left side. Then I went and crashed again, and all that good work they did was for naught. But the moral of the story, kids, is when the doctor tells you not to do it, don't do it. Period. Right?
Yeah. No, it certainly helps. It helps. They're there to help you. They're there to. There's no point in trying to like tough through it. If you're young, just get it done. Get it done while you can, while you're still on your parents' insurance, because that makes it so much easier and nice. Just get it done, get it over with, and move on. And I think I was extremely fortunate for how much damage there was done to be where I am now. But it could still always be better. I could always still be better. And because of not doing things with my shoulder, I didn't like let myself go. I didn't. I was still in really good shape. I was 145 like all summer. When I did get my shoulder back together, it was right around when I was like getting allowed to ride is when I finally got a stock YFZ. Yes, I got a stock YFZ. Put a down payment on. It's like a 2012 stocker, and put Nerf bars, normal MX race tires and stuff on it. Kill switch, and the thing's fine. It's fun. It's fun to just spin laps and it was a good therapy quad, I guess. It served its purpose as being a therapy quad. And
so no serious mods to it, but if they brought the OEM class back, could you race it?
I can race it. Like I could race that. I could probably race a TRX. I could probably race a KFX. Like it's not, and I'm not saying that to say that, but it's just a different setup. It's just a different what I was. Yeah, it is what it is. I mean, the stock YFZ, I thought like in your head when you're riding by yourself, you're like, God, I must be flying because you're wide open everywhere, screaming around corners, hammering the clutch, preloading like a. Oh gosh, I wish swear words. I'm sorry. I need to not. I'm trying my hardest. But it's not. And then I'd actually go out and race with somebody, and I'd get frustrated because I can't keep up. I can't keep up. I can't come out of the corners the same way I used to with like the LTR. I couldn't square corners off. I had to sweep around the outside as hard as I can. And there's a little subtle differences between like the LTR and the YFZ. Actually, quite a bit. We got my dad and Steve Miller. They brought my hybrid down last Fridays. Today's like what, the 20th? Yeah, today's the 20th. They brought it down on the 18th, 17th. And I've been doing some testing on that now. I've kind of just stayed off the YFZ for a little, or I think I plan on staying off the YFZ for a while and just strictly focusing on the hybrid, because once I got back on the hybrid, it was so different to the YFZ. Just the way it corners, the way it handles, the power underneath it. It's unreal.
And how are you feeling so far with your shoulder and your conditioning?
I'm feeling pretty good. I'm starting to feel, besides the whole shoulder thing, my cardio, this is something that I've never actually been able to do. Yeah, but right now I'm down at Decker Training Facility, actually being able to train for this upcoming season. And other seasons prior, I'm not going to say I wasn't training, because when I was in high school, I was varsity wrestler and all that stuff. So I was in pretty good shape then. But to actually be able to strictly focus on moto related things and be out in the warmth and just keep throwing motos down and 20-minute motos here and there, trying to just keep your body going in the sport. And I already see noticeable differences in just the way how I compose myself coming into corners and different things like that, where I would have been like last year. Or how should I say this? I feel like I'm at like where I was before injury. So I don't really, take that with a grain of salt. We'll see how it goes, but it feels pretty good.
So your skill set, or the feel on the machine and your skill sets are all back.
More or less, yeah. It's just learning to retrust, I guess. Retrust pushing into corners, retrust being able to post up on that shoulder and not have it just give way. Because, in videos and stuff I was watching, there's still times where I'm collapsing on that left side when I'm like scrubbing or like over jumping a jump, hitting a section of rollers. I'll be more favored towards that left side, trying not to do something to it, even though it's just a mind trick of like, okay, no, just recenter yourself. You're okay. Like,
Is it because the arm is not strong enough, or is it because you're scared?
It's just I don't want to find out. It's I don't want to. It's one of those games. So I know it's probably it is fine. It is fine, but it's one of those things where I'd rather not. Err on the side of caution, just because it is still really early in the season. We got another. I mean, the season hasn't even started yet, and I've never ridden this much before a season.
So that's something new for you as well, to be that in tune with the machine going into round one.
Yeah, and round one Daytona is always such a cluster. Not always. I mean, last year was a cluster, but I'm not even like thinking of Daytona as like a big. It is a big race. It is a big deal, but in the sense of the grand scheme of things, it's the first round. I just want to get out of there clean, top 5, top 10, what? Just get out of there clean. Move on to Gatorback. Move on to Texas, and then as the series goes on, if I'm not in a good spot, then get a little bit more aggressive doing some other different things.
What are those other different things?
You can't tell all the secrets,
Yeah, you can.
Well, I mean, it's just different, like mindset, different mindset, really.
In
How am I
the
going
pro
to?
sport, in the pro-am, how aggressive are you guys? Because most of you are friends and most of you have known each other for years. So how aggressive do you really get with at that level? Because you're still only racing for a trophy.
Sadly, yeah. I wish it wasn't that way, but I mean, how badly do you want it?
I'm asking you.
I mean,
are you willing to bump and rub?
Oh, that's what I do. I mean, that's not what I do, but I'm not afraid of doing that stuff to do what I got to do. And I think the pro-am pro sport classes, just because those classes are now starting to get full because people are starting to drag their feet wanting to go to pro, because pro is starting to get full. So now you're having like this mixing pot of like the top amateurs, call us amateurs or whatever. And it's going to be gruesome, because now you have kids that are just learning how to do 6 laps like in pro sport, because I think A classes and all them, they're only like 5 laps, and then all the classes under that are 4 laps. So you're having kids start to learn, all right, I got to go 2 more laps at a way more intense pace, which, I mean, that's when I first came into the class, I was pretty dead after those. And then, oh God, Sunday, I got to run 13 minutes plus 2, which compared to a pro moto, it's just an extra 5 laps. It's just an extra 5 laps for a pro
It's a
moto.
whole nother race.
Yeah, it's a whole nother race. It's basically a pro sport moto and a pro am moto together to make a pro moto. But I think it's going to be good. I think it's out of everybody, because there's then how the rules are laid out is somebody moving from B to A can also run pro sport. So you're in some, like last year, I remember at Daytona, you had B riders jumping up into pro sport because they can, and it's Daytona, so why not? They wouldn't hurt them at all, because they would just drop back to A, run A, and not have any repercussions for it, because A class or pro sport's essentially like an advanced A. That's the understanding I'm getting from this pro sport class. I'm trying to make it like, not trying to, I'm trying to get a better understanding of how to make it like more official or all that stuff, but that's just the way it currently is set up to be. And then pro am is the next step, and then pro is the next step from there. So yeah, then so you're having kids that from pro sport to pro am, you're not even having, like, I would probably say 5 to 10 won't run pro am because they're still running the A classes. And I think to run, I mean, nobody's going to run 2 13-minute motos and then 2 A classes the next day. Like, it's kind of a lot. Well, unless you're Juan Under Kuhu, he's crazy. Kuchu. He ran 5 classes in one race weekend. 5 to 6 classes. I was announcing at sunset, and I swear I kept getting tripped up over his name every single time. It's like, dude, is there more of these guys? No, it's just him. But
And how was his performance?
he races pretty good. He's a hard racer.
So if he can do it, why can't anybody else do it?
Not many other people want to do that.
That's it. Want is everything, right?
Right.
So you're gonna run pro sport and pro am.
Yeah.
And I'm just gonna throw it out there. This is your pretext for you becoming a professional.
Essentially, yeah. The pretext. All right. I'm just trying to think on how to elaborate from this.
So you win the pro am. Let's say you win the pro am.
Mm-hmm.
Are you going pro the next year, like most people that win it?
Depends on if they allow hybrids in. If not, then I'll ride pro am out again. You know, and that's going to be the stubbornness in the series, is until, I mean, what are they going to do if I don't move up past pro am?
They're not going to do anything because they can't force you.
Exactly.
It's up to you.
Yeah, pretty much, because I'm not saying I don't want to build a YFZ, but that's just not how I want to spend my days, is just riding. Like, everybody rides the same quad, and that's, you know, until some other manufacturer comes out, there's no other quad really that's going to make the time and be, for me at least, comfortable and cost effective and all this other
stuff. You can still ride a Honda and you can still ride an LTR.
Oh yeah, you still can. But why aren't they?
Molanders, there's 2 guys riding Suzukis and 1 guy riding a Honda in the pro lineup.
Out of 20. Out of 20 YFZs.
Well, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, at least there's somebody doing something different, you know?
Yeah. And that's what I like seeing too. I like seeing, I'm glad Molander's on a LTR, because, you know, I've talked with him a little bit and he doesn't like the YFZ at all. So go for him, you know, LTR it up. They're, you know, for what they are, they're a really good quad. And same with the Hondas. I mean, that technology hasn't changed since 06, but it's already been maximized, so you have all the parts availability, because now people are just kind of throwing away those really high performance, I wouldn't say throwing away, but it's still more readily available. People still have Honda parts everywhere for those bikes, and I could see them still being in for another couple of years. But until you know, YFZs become a little bit more mainstream, more of them as years go on, it will be probably just YFZs.
I see that too. You know, and I don't see Yamaha backing out of it, because why would they? They can't. They can't build enough quads as it is.
Mm-hmm.
And I did hear some rumors that I'm not allowed to talk about, but that's good to say things like that on the show. Yeah, seriously. I mean, I've heard rumors I'm not allowed to talk about them. So they're possibly. That, not tell me. I can't tell you, because I've been asked not to say anything, so it's good to put that little bug out there. So now everybody's going to be buzzing about it, and well, it will come out, probably later than sooner, but I'm still crossing my fingers and hoping that Honda will change their mind,
Mhm.
and at some point come out with the new Honda, even the old Honda.
Mhm.
I'd be happy if you could buy a 2024 same exact thing as the 14 Honda.
Yeah,
I
just to have
wouldn't care.
something new. Yeah, just to have a new bike in the line, something that isn't tweaked, the frame isn't whopped out in some way, shape, or form. It's brand new. It's always nice to start from new.
And I think that Honda would sell as many as they could build,
Oh yeah.
because the recreational world is screaming for machines as well.
Hmm.
Whoever comes out with one, whatever brand or whatever manufacturer it is, I think it's going to sell, even if it's a piece of crap. And then there's a chance that could possibly be happening.
You see, Can-Am, they're doing like a big unveiling of something new. So they say.
Yeah, and it's not what you think it is.
I didn't think it was anything
It's
sport
it's
quad
a
related.
it
Woods quad.
could be.
It's what I'm assuming from the woodsy backdrop. I mean, it would be
Just
cool.
if you keep, I can't exactly, because I know what it is, but I'm not allowed to say again. That's not what I was talking about. I just, fortunately for me, I know enough people in the industry, and there's enough talk. I get to hear a lot of different things. Some of them are crap, and some of it's true. And I love it. You get a good sense for things that are happening, and some things that are coming. I know of some releases for teams and for riders and things like that are coming that other people don't know about. Some people do know about them, but that's not publicized yet.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's great. I would tell anybody that's listening to this, stay tuned, watch and check it out, because new things are coming every day. And as our platform grows, there are people that reach out to us, hey, we want to debut this, or hey, we want this to happen. And that makes me feel good, because people are actually trusting in me or trusting in my team to promote them properly. It's just like when I told you that, hey, this is what we do now. It's your day, it's your 7 days.
Mhm.
If you don't want me to promote me, don't send the email back. There's nothing I can do. And Josh Merritt, I'm sorry, I didn't send the email, but Valeria sent it, and that'll be probably 3 weeks ago that when this comes out. So Josh, we're getting you taken care of, brother. I had a string of, you're gonna laugh your ass off, because you're technically way better than I am.
All right. Rough, but
I sent a bunch of emails all wrong. I didn't know that it was formatted incorrectly, and I probably sent it 20, 30 times, and they either weren't getting them or they were getting somebody else's information. I finally had to have Valeria, my right hand, and IT and computer whiz, everything you want to say, no, dummy, that you're doing it wrong. Oh, really? Okay. But we got it all straightened out, and now I send it correctly. So I don't have any shame in saying that I'm not a tech guy. I'm just not.
well, your tech is wrenches and working on things that go fast, not things that illuminate in front of you.
Correct. And I'm struggling, because we're getting more and more into the computer age, and where you're plugging in and doing diagnostics that way. And when you can't find the on switch to your computer, it's kind of hard to do diagnostics sometimes.
Need an extension cord because the battery's shot. We have a battery that we have a computer to do our tuning and crap on, and you got to be strapped to the wall, extension cord plugged into the quad to get it to do it. And it's, oh my god, it's so old. I think we did update. We use now my mom. We always get like my mom's hand-me-down because she's a school teacher.
Mhm.
We always get her like hand-me-down little desktop laptop things. And the last one we had, I think it was like it had Windows 7. Like, not even no, it was old. It was so old. It was like a gamble if it would fire up, and it's probably not a smart way to have your tunes and all your valuable quad running diagnostic stuff. So
Right.
upgraded. And I mean, it's not like a crazy upgrade to Windows 10, so it's a little bit of an upgrade.
Yeah, I think that you have to have the latest and greatest in those things to make it work correctly. And there's people out there that can do amazing things with it. I talked to Richard at Vortex. I mean, I think the guy's super, super intelligent, smarter than most people realize, but you also got to figure for the way people do things. Well, why didn't he do this or why didn't he do that? Well, because it wasn't available when he started doing this. You got to figure this machine's been out how long? Right?
Yeah, that's ridiculous. So he
Hasn't
didn't know
changed.
about.
Go ahead.
No, I'm so surprised he didn't know about California being different. That's crazy with the emission stuff.
Unless somebody tells him, the machine he got is an international machine. It's different. It's the same everywhere but California.
Gotta be carb compliant. You know
what? Easy. I don't want him freaking watching my shows, and I don't want him coming knocking on my door.
What are you doing removing emissions? Nah.
No, I don't know what you're talking about. I never would do anything like that. That's against
closed course
the law.
Competition. Hands off. Closed course.
Exactly. There you go. Red sticker. Leave me alone.
Okay.
Red stickers.
So
closed course.
Of that, why can't we change ATVs? Because I think isn't that the reason why the LTR got killed off, was because the EPA regulations and all that stuff. They got.
Was that company that it was that organization that you mentioned that I'm not going to say.
Fair enough. Okay.
Because they didn't reveal something, and there was a fine. They didn't want to pay the fine. Boom, there went the bike.
Really?
And that's the layman's entry level easy way to explain it. There's more to it that I'm just not. We're just not going to get into it because it's not my gig.
Yeah.
But what I have seen is Suzuki's making a killing, making little bitty cars to sell around the world. So why would they make an ATV when they're making a killing selling little cars?
Well, and they're still making a killing on their dirt bikes with Kickstart. So, I wouldn't say.
Yeah, I mean,
somebody's got to be the bargain brand.
Everybody capping on Ken Roxon for riding an old bike like that.
No, I think that stuff's great.
I think for the guy who is, if you took him off the motorcycle and put him into the regular world, he could get a disability check and never have to work again in the day in his life because of his injuries. And the fact that he can ride the motorcycle at the level he does, until I found that out, I used to cap on Mr. Roxon. Ken, you are a stud and a hero, and I apologize for ever doubting you, because the way he's injured and the way he's came back, that guy is a full-fledged hero, man. And he's riding a machine that I guarantee you his team is working overtime to do all they can to make it as good as possible. And he's still running in the top 5.
And here's the thing that I think is working with him on him working with Suzuki, is that he's previously already worked with Suzuki. So he's trying his absolute hardest, seeing every opportunity to make it work. He's not leaving anything on the table to make the bike work as good as it physically can.
This is his exit party.
Yeah.
So he has to make it as good as he possibly can. I don't think that they had the technology, and I don't think they had people working for him that were as smart as Ken. And Ken, everybody's going to laugh, but I think he came from the best to Suzuki, from Honda to Suzuki. He went from the best company to an also ran company. And he's taking some of what he learned from Honda and going to make it better.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just my opinion.
No, and that's, as a, being testing, doing that type of stuff, you learn a certain terminology. And maybe with him going to Honda, they had a more specific type of terminology to, then Ken brings that over to the Suzuki, I can see that making the bike way better.
Yeah, because it is really, he is doing really well. He won a heat race last weekend, and there again, hasn't he finished in the top 5 almost every race?
Yeah.
Dude,
I don't get what's going on with the mains. The mains have been whack. Chase Sexton keeps throwing it away.
I think
over and over
Saxton
again.
is throwing it away mentally.
Oh, dude, 100%. It's always that 10-minute point, and the
Eli
easiest way
Tomac is in his head.
Oh,
Eli Tomac is in his head, and it's until he gets him out, he might as well just freaking load that thing in the truck and go home.
yeah, he's got penthouse view looking out of Chase's forehead. Just
When that orange bike and with the number 2 on it beats you, dude, you might as well just pack it in, because that guy ain't got shouldn't even be on the podium.
what do you mean? Webb's gutsy. He's tough. He's tough.
I'm sorry, I'm just not a fan.
Yeah.
Put him on a red bike or a green bike or a yellow bike or a blue bike, totally different world. But as long as he's riding what he's riding, yeah, I'd have no desire to even worry about it.
I was hearing rumors that he wanted to go back to Star Yamaha for a little bit.
Well, look at it this way. You look how good Eli's doing. You look at where Craig is. Craig went backwards.
Yeah. No, he did. He was what? He was 3rd place outdoors to now 10th place indoors. I mean, again,
He got 7th. He's riding a freaking he's basically riding a white orange bike. I mean, it's the same thing.
Has a composite subframe, easy on it. Has a composite subframe.
Whatever. You can package it any way you want. It's still an orange bike. Why he left them. If he left for money, dude, you should have taken a little bit less money. You don't have that much time left in your career. I think that the kid's got mad skills, and he needed the guidance from the Yamaha guys and the trust to push him over the top and to make him be more successful. I mean, do I ever think he could be a champion? I don't know. You can't say no, because once you get with a package, rider, mechanic, team manager, whatever, and they build you mentally so strong that you're unbeatable. And Eli Tomac has that right now. Not only does he
everybody around him that, he has Gelmer, Richie Gelmer is a suspension guy right now. Is that the main guy at KYB?
I have no idea. I have no idea who works with him.
Yeah, so because he got one of his old mechanics back from Kawasaki that he had a really good relationship with, brought them over to Yamaha, and Star being not a manufacturer ran team, it's independent. They can do whatever they want. They can swap parts wherever they want to be. If you want to run these style triple clamps, this style triple clamps, go for it. There's no sponsorship holding them down.
And I think that's the best thing for Eli. He wanted to make changes on the green bike, and they wouldn't let him. And it kind of demoralized him a little.
Oh, I could see that happening to Villapoto, and he even brings it up. And who is he talking to that he brought it up, saying he wish he would have just switched instead of quit, or not quit but retire?
Yeah, if he would have went to a different kind of team.
Yeah,
I think that the red bikes are too over demanding. Even though my belief is when you sign that contract, they own you. And if it's in the contract, dude, and you read it and you don't like it, that's on you. You signed the contract, idiot. You could have went to the other team. You were looking at the dollar signs and the prestige of the factory. And I'm telling you that I would probably sign the factory deal too, and look at the small print later and go, oh, damn, shouldn't have signed. Oh, well. But I mean, dude, once you make your bed, you got to lie in it. And you need to make it the best you possibly can, because they're paying you to win races. They're not paying you to sulk. Oh, I can't run that triple clamp, so I'm not going to go fast today. To me, that's, no, you're getting paid a lot of money. You go out there and give it 110, and if not more, every time, because that's what you're paid to do. And That it's like professional athletes in other sports just pisses me off. You're depressed. I don't care. You're making millions of dollars, dude. I'm out here busting my ass for pennies and you're making gazillions of bucks and I'm watching you. You better be putting out more.
Have too much free
And
time if you have enough time to feel like.
Yeah, it's not about your feelings, it's about your performance. Shut up. I know, went off on a little tangent there. Sorry, everybody. Everybody already knows I'm old school and how I feel about things, and it's okay. I mean, I feel the same way about your mechanics and your engine builders and your suspension guys. If you're getting paid and you're on that team, perform.
Mhm.
If
Do
your
your job.
package, if your package is wrong, fix it.
And it shouldn't be like oh man, I love it in testing, and then go to race day, be like, this sucks. Like, oh wow, you should have, raced with it, played race, practice race, done something to actually get it in the same mindset or get you in the same mindset, because there's a difference as a rider between practicing and racing.
Yep.
I'll never understand it either, because I've always sucked as being a practice rider. Like, there's just too much going. There's just not, how should I say this? When I'm racing, right, that's the only thing drawing my attention, is going as fast as I can and not throwing myself at the ground. Like, that is the main thing. But when I'm practicing, I'm looking at different lines. I'm looking at the side. I'm looking over here. I'm looking over there. I'm trying to keep my hands
on
loose.
you.
I'm thinking, yeah, it's on me. It's terrible.
So you almost need somebody in your camp to set up a race for you as a practice with its pit board, stopwatch, and make it more of a work session for you.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just what I see.
One of my buddies that are over here, I had him write down on the pit board like my lap times, and I wanted him to write down the minutes of how long I was out there, but he kept messing up the minutes, wouldn't put minutes up. So it was just the lap time, and it was like, God, I've been running the same lap over and over and over. And it was when I was on the stocker, it's like I can't go any faster. Like, I physically cannot go any faster. And that's the mindset you need to be in when you're practicing.
But you could have. There's a line adjustment somewhere in your program that you could have made multiple little line adjustments and gained a half a second or a quarter of a second. There's always room for improvement. And if you're dissecting yourself that way in what you do, you're going to go faster.
Yeah.
I mean, and how can you set yourself up like the way you were talking about practicing, and then on race day pushing yourself harder when you didn't push yourself that hard? You don't know where your boundaries are on race day then.
Yeah, no, that's pretty much it. Like, if you don't test your own boundaries, you don't know where the breaking point is.
Right. I was just throwing that out there, asking questions to you. You know.
I don't really have an answer to that. Like, you just go until you can't. You go, you strain, you tire yourself, you keep, and then you do it again. And you do it again. And you keep, looking for that silver lining of, all right, I did a little bit better this time, but maybe I want to shoot for a little bit better this next time. You go out and maybe it isn't any better. Can't let that bother you. Go back out, pound out some more laps, go to the gym, train a little bit harder.
You think, so let me ask you this. When you go to the gym, what are you focusing on when you go to the gym? What kind of body parts or what kind of exercises do you work on?
I'm no Brandon Hogue in this aspect, but I like getting on the rower and setting it on like 9 or 10 or basically max, and cranking out a 5,000 at like a 25-minute pace, just something just to keep going, because that'll work. Like, what I've noticed, especially riding the hybrid, is my lower back. Like, over the YFZ, no lower back issues at all. I felt great. Like, body wise, my body didn't get fatigued on the YFZ, but on the hybrid, because it's just a little bit faster, it's a little bit quicker, it's a little bit more, darty, a little bit more, does things more. It's straining me harder. It's straining me more, and it's making, my back hurt so bad. And it's like, I never could figure out a workout that would actually work my lower back to the same amount, or to the same intensity, I guess, as like the row machine, because I'm sitting on that just that back strap, like 2-3 from your waistband, like just that waistband region of your back. Oh my God, dude. But yeah, it's 10 minutes. Now I'll see it. It'll start aching me about 10 minutes. Before, at the beginning of last week, it was 7 minutes. So there is improvement. And I'm so glad that that's actually getting taken care of. I'll try to do some core workout. They have a pretty nice like knee slider thing. You put your knees in it, then you like lift your knees up to your chest type stuff. And I'll try to do those really slow, but like 10 reps going as slow as I can just to get as much strain as I can, different positions. I'll move my legs over to the side. I'll do pull-ups, run on the treadmill, that type of stuff. I don't really have a plan when I go into the gym. It's just whatever I feel like, all right, I'm weak in this category today. I need to work on this.
How about squats and deadlifts? Do you do anything like that?
I'll do like leg press, but nothing really squat related just because the bar kills my shoulders. Both shoulders. It's always been that way where it kills both shoulders. I haven't even tried, putting a bar on my shoulder since that whole ordeal, but that's just not the style of workout that I like doing. I don't like heavyweight stuff. I don't think it really benefits me. I've tried.
You should look into deadlifts.
All right.
Just little, I understand the squat portion, and I don't have a better answer for you. You may get a random text from me for that at some point, because no, I'm not a workout guru myself at all, but there are specific exercises that you pick up from all different forms of athletics that seem to help you.
Yeah.
Like deadlift, if done correctly, and this is just my opinion and some of the opinions of some of the professionals that I've spoken to, deadlifts is one of the best exercises you can do for your body.
Really?
Whole body, not just your legs. It's a whole body exercise, and done correctly. You're not talking about maxing your weight into some astronomical, you're not trying to be Arnold Schwarzenegger or Lou Ferrigno or one of those guys that are just massive
ego lifter.
Right. You're trying to build your body and make yourself stronger and more healthy, so you need to look into that and just see about doing those kind of things to make your body better. It's good for your lungs. It's good for your core. It's just good for everything. So that's just something to look into. Not trying to tell you to change your program or anything.
I definitely will. I'll see what I can do in the gym tomorrow.
I'm telling and when anybody listens to it, I tell them all the same thing. I like them, and I don't get to do them near as often as I like to. So I don't get to work out in any of the ways I used to. So that's what happens when you're old and broken. So go to the doctor, get healthy, keep yourself straight and symmetrical, so that you don't have issues.
It helps staying symmetrical.
Totally. Most people don't understand that you're like, if you're running or walking or certain things that you take for granted, if you're not symmetrical, it gets thrown off.
Mm-hmm.
So keep your back straight. I like going to the chiropractor because it keeps me straight. I don't get to go as often as I like to, but it just keeps you straight. And if you look at the little chart, the body charts of your spine and how it all works together, and if it's all straight where it's supposed to be, dude, our torsos or our bodies can hold like 3,500 pounds,
really?
If not more. Yeah. That's freaking incredible, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, when everything's aligned, you're not going to slip a disc in your back or something silly like that.
Right.
It's scary because like I'm hearing more and more like I'm 19. I'll be turning 20 later this year in May, and it's funny because I'm having some friends get some like injury, like, oh man, I slipped a disc in my back. It's like, shit, you ain't old. Like, wait, 19? You're graduating class. What the heck? Like,
what was he sitting on the couch and dropped his Pepsi and his pizza freaking fell on him and he twisted wrong?
Something like that, probably. I bet you he was working on his truck trying to drop a tea case or something and strained differently and twisted wrong. And I don't know. But stuff like that happens all the time. Like, you can get injured doing the stupidest of things. You can get injured just stepping out of the trailer wrong. Like, it's
I
just
knew of
not.
a I know of a professional rider, which I won't mention his name because he didn't say that I could. But when he was in the hospital getting recovering from his accident, um, which ended his career,
Hmm.
the guy next to him, or the guy that was there too, tripped in his living room.
Really?
Yeah,
How'd you get here? Oh, you're not going to believe it.
right. You know, and the guy said, "At least you were doing something cool." You know, I tripped in my living room. You know,
Nobody watched. Nobody saw it.
no, no. You know, so we can all get hurt doing so many things, you know, and not even realize it. Um, you know, my 87-year-old pops, you know, gets excited about working on something with me, you know, and he starts to move through the shop faster than he should and loses his balance and wham, you know, and there's all that machinery and all that stuff around, and he
Yeah, no
falls right
soft
in the
places.
yeah, and he falls right in the walkway, perfect center, boom, doesn't hit anything. You know, didn't hurt him, fortunately, but you know, you think about that, a couple inches one way or the other, and it's a catastrophic thing.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, there's nothing
so
soft in a machine shop, welding shop, anything. I mean, unless you're landing in a bin of scrap aluminum or whatever. I mean,
that's
still.
not soft either.
Well, I mean, if it's fluffy, like you're on a lathe and you're laving aluminum away,
Well,
like the little chips, maybe. I don't know. I haven't
maybe
felt.
you're going to get a couple slivers then, but
It.
that's okay, I guess. You know, so when you're out riding your hybrid, did you make any changes from last year at all?
Yeah, I made a couple little changes. Um, at the end of last year, we went riding at Baja Acres. It was Halloween weekend, and that track is just so weird, and my quad was way too twitchy. And I was like, all right, we got to roll the ball joints back. We got to get the caster back a little bit, or not the cat. Yeah, roll the caster back, make it a little less aggressive, so I can sweep through the corners a little bit easier. It doesn't want to just bite and take off in a direction. And that was the last time I rode the quad actually on a track. And then bring it down here, riding it's still pretty much the same setup. And I'm like trying to turn this thing. I'm like, oh my God. Like it still turns. It still turns great. But there was like no feeling to it. Like it did it, but it wasn't it was something was wrong. Like it just kind of glided through the corner instead of, actually stabbing at a point and turning. So we rolled the ball joints back forward, made some like small clicker adjustments, stiffening things up because I didn't gain much weight. I think I'm up to like 151, 152
Oh
now.
my God.
I know. I'm so heavy, right? Um, I've been keeping an eye on it. I'd like to get down to like 149, 148. I mean, like, yeah, like that makes a big difference, but it's just peace of mind type thing. But yeah, scrubbing things a little bit harder, pushing the quad into the face, having some G out issues and stuff, but got them addressed like on the second day of riding that thing and pretty much just chugging along, throwing laps, doing some testing, making sure things aren't cracking because it's still the first, that frame and everything is the same frame I raced last year. And
Hey,
like the
can't
same.
talk about it. Hey, we can't talk about it. So we'll have to scratch that. I'm
Fair enough.
teasing you.
Fair enough.
I'm
Fair
teasing you.
enough. No, no, that's fine. That's fine. Fair enough. No, but it's had some time on it now. It probably has, I'd say probably 25 hours on it, 25, 30 hours on the frame, which isn't a lot in the grand scheme of things. But, it's still quite a bit of time. People are starting out fresh and I'm starting out fresh from last year. Fresh things
Right,
from
right.
last year.
So this is going to come out after Daytona.
Mhm.
Okay. What do you predict for Daytona?
What do I predict for Daytona? Okay. I predict rain, mud, more of that, single lane. No, I don't have any idea coming into Daytona how it's going to come, how it's going to go. I want to get through Daytona. I see the light at the end of the tunnel, and I just want to get to the light, which is past Daytona. I have a whiteboard in the back, 15, it's going to be tomorrow, 14 days till Daytona. Whoop-de-doo, but it's not, I just need to get through Daytona because that's not where the season starts in my head or in a lot of people's, thinking. it's the first race for pros and pro sport, but the first race for pro am and everybody else is Gatorback.
Who's all going to Daytona?
There's a lot. I mean, dude, it's a lot.
I mean, so what classes? What I'm asking is what classes are racing? Pro sport,
pro
and what
pro
else?
Sport. Those are the only two. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, because Women MX elected not to, and
bummed me out.
Yeah, and I missed the meeting on trying to elect on not going for pro sport, just because it's so much, and the facility and everything. It's great. The place is beautiful.
But it hurts. See, saying no hurts us.
Yeah,
we want,
but saying yes also hurts. Like,
okay, but do you want the sport to grow?
Yeah, I do, and that's
okay. Then you need to say, yeah, you need to go there. You need to go to Daytona.
That's pretty much it too.
And the women's, I didn't know they elected no until after I had already spoken to two of the lady pros. I'll probably talk to Neve after the season starts and ask what were your thoughts? I mean, this is a premier thing for you to race in, to show your wares and to prove your worthiness, and you say no.
You gotta understand, though, it was like camping's expensive. Pit passes. I mean, you don't have to get a pit pass, but everything at Daytona is so expensive. And if you're not bringing food in, if you're not, doing that type of stuff, everything is at a premium because it's Daytona. And
your point.
My honest opinion of this is that it's just a cash grab. Might as well get the quad guys' monies as well. Yeah, televise it a little bit. But why can't we televise it the rest of the time? Why can't we promote this for the rest of the series? Why does it have to be just Daytona that we have to promote when it can't be the rest of the series? I mean, I get it. Daytona's Daytona. It's cool. Whatever.
I understand why they're not. I understand about the promotion thing. But if you want your sport to grow and you have one place that's going to push the television or get exposure the way it does, you need to hype that up. You need to frickin' save your pennies. You need to make that happen. Don't think it's fair. I don't think it's fair at all. But, it needs to happen. I'm doing everything I can on my end and spending my money to promote people. Okay, which, I've already said it. I don't need to say it again, other than this is free promotion for anybody that comes on my show. You're not paying me to promote you. You're not paying me to publish your photos and to talk about you and to do this. But when you get an opportunity to get in front of a larger crowd by them plugging a small amount of television or an online viewership, you got to do it. You just got to. I know it's expensive, but dude, it's the only way that we're going to get TV through the other stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, eventually it's going to happen. I can't tell you when. But, so I understand that, and we have an agreement to agree and not disagree, but agree and agree.
Yeah, I get where you're coming from. No, I do. I agree with you. I really do. Like, we need to promote it, but no, I agree with you. I do.
I should be there, and the reason I'm not going there is because I can't afford to.
Come on,
I'm in the same.
Save every penny. You gotta.
I am, brother. I am, and my I'm already so over budget doing what I do that there's no money to travel. I mean, I wish, brother. I wish. Gosh, I wish. I would love to go not only to every motocross round. I'd love to go to every GNCC. Cover the works, cover the best in the desert. I'd love to cover them all. There's not enough of me, but I'd still love to do it,
Right.
or at least have people so that I could send them to cover some of the stuff. So really quick before I let you go, pro class. Some new guys on the gate, some guys from overseas on the gate, some of the old champions. What are you predicting? What are you thinking? What are you seeing?
I mean, top two, obviously going to be Joel and Chad, because those guys are just elite. Like, those guys are just absurd. Joel's here right now at Decker. I'm watching him, and I can't get any, like, when I'm watching him ride, it's unbelievable because he's just going so fast. He's going so fast. It's unbelievable. I haven't seen Chad ride, but I seriously think from third to 10th, it's going to be whoever gets a better hole shot, and then some. Duking it out. It's going to be a really, really tight battle. But now you got third place getting closer to second and first, because Hogue and Ford and all those guys, they're putting in the work to be there as well. So now you have the potential of, like, let's say Chad gets a bad start and he might finish fourth because of it's just that deep of a field now. And then you got new guys like Kevin Sarr. I really think he's going to do good. I really do. Not because he has 311 or anything, but just because just watching him ride and how deep into this he is. Like, overseas, he's unbelievable. He's a great guy. So funny to talk to. Yeah. He's going to do good. I think he's going to do good. I think a bunch of the new guys coming in, they're going to find their place real nice, and it's just all going to shuffle out. I'm more curious on how Sarr is going to end up doing. Actually, he's my guy right now. He's my guy.
Well, I like your input there on that, and I really appreciate it. As always, Blair, thank you so much for your time. It was a pleasure talking to you. We have a great conversation, throughout everything that we do talk about. Sometimes it's not quad related, but I don't particularly think we should talk too much politics, but a little bit of political banter now and again is good. But again, I wish you the best this year, and I hope to catch up with you at some point during the season.
The team here at ATV-TALK would love your feedback. Please email us at hello@atvtalkpodcast.com. If you're in need of a consultation for your current racing program, a custom ATV, or an industry guest speaker, I have the company for you. Duncan Technologies International, Inc. offers host, MC, and guest speaking services at events. Builds custom ATVs for recreational riding or racing around the world. And they offer consulting services for professional teams or individual racers. Send inquiries to duncantechinternational@gmail.com or call 619-716-1532 for more information. Thank you for listening. We hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, don't forget to share us with your family and friends. The podcast is available on all streaming platforms, and you can find us on social media as ATV Talk Podcast. We're on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, Rumble, and Twitter